at the table by Tennessee head coach Kelly Harper and student athletes Jordan Walker and Alexis Dye. We'll open up with an opening statement from head coach Kelly Harper. Take it away.
Yeah. Well, we're our team's really excited to be playing tomorrow. We know we have a tough opponent, very gritty opponent who executes well on both ends of the court. So we know it's a huge challenge, but our team's really excited, and hopefully we'll be prepared and ready to go come 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
All right, well, now to open up for questions for our student athletes. Right over here on the right.
Jordan, obviously Belmont is a very guard-oriented team, and this is going to be a very guard-oriented game. Just what are the guards' thoughts, and you, of course, at the point guard spot going into this game?
Looking at Belmont, like you said, they have really good guards, and they're able to score at many different levels. I think that the most important part for us tomorrow is just going to be able to be guarding one-on-one, sitting down, guarding screens, being able to guard the three, and just playing with heart.
This is for either of you guys, but Belmont hit 12 threes last night, and Kentucky was able to do that against you guys in the SEC tournament. What do you feel like you guys maybe learned from that game that you'll carry into this one?
I think having that Kentucky game, hindsight now, but looking at it, we're able to guard. I think that we've been working on that, in our time before playing yesterday. So just coming into the game, making sure that we're able to guard the three, I think is going to be really important for us. And looking back at that Kentucky game, that's a little bit of a fire under us because we know what, the outcome is if we're not able to guard that.
Right over here on the right.
Alexis, the Buffalo coach yesterday said they could not do anything to keep you off the glass. They said they got Tamari boxed out a couple times, but they could not stop you from getting on the board. She called you a juggernaut on the glass. Just how key, and Belmont, of course, knows Tennessee rebounds so well. Just how big of a factor are rebounds going to be tomorrow night?
It's going to be a big factor because I was watching that game yesterday, and they were rebounding against, Oregon. They tall and stuff. So it was just like, we gotta have a lot of movement, so we gotta just fight over those box outs. We just gotta still go grab those rebounds. Even if they boxing us out, we just gotta push a little harder.
This is for both of you guys, but I feel like anyone who's watched men's basketball the last few years, realizes the kind of closing the gap between the mid-major teams and the Power 5 teams in the tournament. And especially this weekend, I feel like that has been apparent with both of you guys transferring in from mid-majors. What is that like for you to kind of see that maybe respect being given to these teams now in the tournament?
I think that now, like with the tournament play, any team in the tournament is capable, of playing. They've won their conference, and obviously that they can play. So I think that it's good for the mid-majors, but I also think that it's just kind of like it's March now. Everybody here, everybody in the tournament can play. So every single night you have to come out and play, no matter the opponent, whether it's Power 5 or mid-major, whoever.
Any more questions for our student athletes? Right here.
For both Alexis and Jordan, obviously you're not here to carry the burden of Tennessee teams' past. You're aware of the history. With that said, Tennessee has not been to a Sweet 16 since 2016. Would that be a meaningful milestone to be a part of to get Tennessee back to that point for both of you?
Yes, I feel like it would be a beautiful milestone because For me, I never been to a Sweet 16. I never passed the first round, actually. And I'm pretty sure my teammates would, love and cherish this memory forever if we were able to make it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I think Snoop got it in a nutshell.
Teresa?
For both of you, while trying to deal with getting on the boards and dealing with the inside game, Belmont knocked down 12 threes last night, and they shoot it. Almost everyone can shoot it and knock it down. What's the challenge when you're facing a team that can shoot it like that, of making sure you're getting out and defending on them, and while keeping them from hurting you that way?
I think that the challenge is chasing them off the three a little bit, making them make contested threes versus just wide open threes. I think that's going to be a big difference with making threes for any team. If it's wide open, of course you can knock it down, but if it's contested or you're being chased off the line, I think it's a little bit harder.
This for either of you guys, but I know we've talked about, the adversity what this team has been through, and, once was projected 1 seed, very much everyone thought that this was just kind of a given that you guys were going to make this run. But given, what you guys have been through, what does it mean to actually be at this moment and have that opportunity still in front of you to take?
I think that, honestly, this opportunity is perfect for us. I think, with being able to win this game and going to the Sweet 16, like, it just kind of sums up, the season that we've had. We've been through a lot, and I feel like if we continue to fight night in and night out, we'll be able to go as far as we want. And I feel like that's been something that we've been saying all year, but it's so true with this team. Like, if we just go out there and we do what we're supposed to do and we fight and give effort and play together, I really feel like the sky's the limit for us.
For both players, Belmont, obviously, there's no pressure on them. They're playing Tennessee's home court. They're another Tennessee school. The pressure, of course, if you even choose to call it pressure, gets put on Tennessee. With that in mind, how important is a good start for you guys? Because their fans are going to be here. It's going to be should be a pretty raucous crowd.
I feel like a good start is what we need, but one thing is that we need to keep that. Like, we don't need to let it die down, because usually we let it die down and we get, like, comfortable and stuff like that. We just need to keep ramming it down their throats.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that with a good start, we just need to keep that. But I think that now, and I was saying yesterday, I feel like the first 10 minutes usually kind of indicates how the game is going to go. You start off really good. You keep pushing, no matter what happens. I feel like that's going to determine the game. And obviously, things can happen. But with this team, if we start off really good and we're, hitting, I think that's a good sign for us.
Cora?
Alexis, obviously last year you guys play in the tournament, but this year, being at Tennessee and playing in your home court, what's that been like for you? And I guess, how much fun have you been having in March?
It's an advantage because, we get our fans and things like that. We get our support, the people that keep us going and, encourages us. I feel like it's critical because, last year we didn't have many fans, but it's just like that atmosphere is just like it gives you a boost,
Any more questions for our student athletes? Okay. Thank you, Jordan and Alexis, for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll now take questions for Tennessee head coach Kelly Harper.
Coach, you know my standard one. What are the challenges of Belmont, and what do y'all face tomorrow night against them?
Well, I think if you look at Belmont and what they're able to do, they are excellent and efficient on both ends of the court. They can shoot it well. They pass it well. They're a low turnover team. They're very, very intelligent. They make the right decision. And a lot of that is on the defensive end as well. And so, I think they're not going to be intimidated. You look at their schedule. They've played a tough schedule. They made a run last year. And this is a very experienced basketball team, and they're going to come out and fight and do what they do. And what they do has been pretty good.
Down here in front on the left.
Coach Tyler Wambles with the Daily Times. We've talked about it before. You're from Tennessee. You're the head coach of Tennessee's women's basketball team. When you're facing an in-state foe in the NCAA tournament, when you could play teams from across the country, what do you think that sort of says about, basketball in this state? Well,
obviously this is two good basketball teams playing against each other. There's no doubt that, there's some of those players over there that are, very motivated to play their in-state team. To me, it could be a little bit more than just playing in the NCAA tournament, and so I think they'll be inspired and ready to go.
Madison?
Coach, just kind of following that, what do you think it just says to the game of women's basketball and to maybe little girls watching the game tomorrow to see two Tennessee teams, a mid-major and the legacy that the women's basketball team has here at Tennessee just competing? How special do you think that is?
Well, I think it tells you how much better women's basketball has gotten. We talked a little bit about the parity. you know, at this point, anybody can win, and doesn't matter what your league is. Matters what you do now on the court, and there are a lot of really good teams, that are probably better because they have some maybe fifth-year players. So I think we're seeing that across the board, you know. But there's just a lot of talent, a lot of talented teams. And especially in this state, I think when you look across the state, there's been some really good basketball played this year, and I think it is inspiring. You know, when I was growing up, the college teams were very successful in this state, and I think it, you know, gives you something to look at and to follow.
Over here on the right.
2 quick questions. First, has there been any update in Jordan Horson's status? Has she been able to participate anymore in practice?
No, Jordan, same for her. She can, like I said the other day, she can shoot some because she's the injury is on her left elbow, so she's been shooting, but that's about it.
And then secondly, Bart was talking about last night about the chip on his team's shoulder. There's players in that locker room that feel like they are maybe under-recruited. And, you know, you coached at Missouri State. I'm sure you had players like that too. How dangerous is a team like that when there's players who feel like they deserve better in the recruiting process?
I know exactly what they're going through right now. I lived that. I know exactly how motivated they are. I know exactly what that chip on their shoulder looks like. I've been there. And as a coach, I use that. So, you know, I saw, you know, they played last year. They want more than they did last year. That'd be one more win. So, I get it.
Here on the left.
Oh, hey, Coach. Kelly Instance with WATE. The freshmen continue to contribute big minutes, 14 total points, 4 assists, 12 rebounds, 2 steals combined from them. How would you assess their play last night in their first NCAA tournament?
Well, I tell you, our freshmen go out and they're typically pretty fearless. You know, they go out and they're trying to make plays, and they made good plays. They made a few mistakes, but you know, after the game, I kept thinking how much better they're going to be because they had that opportunity. And you know, I'm really excited for them and how they're playing. We finished practice, and we have at least 3 of those freshmen out doing extra work. You know, so they're very motivated. They're excited. They're having a ball. I'll say this: they're having a ball, and that energy is contagious.
Here on the right.
Coach, you mentioned Belmont wants more than they got last year. Would the same apply to Tennessee? Because you got stopped in the second round. I mean, obviously the kids don't carry the burden of Tennessee. You know what the Tennessee burden is and what its expectations are. On the other side of this, do you use that as motivation for your team? Let's get to our first Sweet 16 for this program since
I don't think I have to.
2016?
Yeah, I don't think I have to, Maria. I think this is a motivated team. They want it for this team. You know, there's a lot, you know, when you start thinking about numbers and win this and you got to do this for the program, and I get it. I understand we carry that. That's part of being a Lady Vol. But this team, they want to win. They just want to win. They want to advance. And the good thing is they understand it's not going to be easy, and you got to go out there and earn it. So I think that's the really exciting piece about this team, you know, and how competitive they are right now.
Kelly, kind of asking the same thing as the players. You know, at one point in the season, people were picking your team as a Final Four favorite. And after everything that happened the last, you know, month or two, what does it mean to be at this moment? What would it mean, I guess, to you as a coach of this program to make the Sweet 16 and to make that statement?
Well, you know, I told the team today I love them. I love them, and I'm thankful and grateful for them. And I appreciate all that they've done and, you know, what they've been through this year and the ups and downs hasn't changed them as people. And, you know, I get to go out and coach a team that plays hard every single possession, and they try. We'll make mistakes, and we may not make every shot, or, you know, we'll mess up, but this is the team that I want to coach because they will fight. They will give us everything they've got, and I just appreciate that for. And when you have that as a coach, I just want to see them succeed. I want to see them have that opportunity, you know. And it's a really special group, and they've hung in there. They've hung in there this year, and would love to keep coaching them for a little bit longer.
Any more questions for Coach? Right here.
The one thing about women's basketball, it's been seeking over, I'm going back a couple decades now, is parity. Do you think we can safely say, looking at these scores across the country, particularly in these early rounds, that women's basketball has reached that point?
I think there is a lot of parity in women's basketball, and I think, going into this year, you could see a lot of talented teams, and getting to the NCAA tournament and just seeing, people are talking about upsets. I don't know if it's upsets. Once you get to the tournament, it's this team's playing this team. It just happens to have a number in front of their name, and it's more about matchups than numbers at that point. So I don't know how many upsets we've really seen. These teams are good. If you're in the NCAA tournament, you're there for a reason. You're there because you've won. You're there because you've passed a test, whether it's a conference tournament or you've passed this season-long test of showing your body of work is deserving of being there. But there's a lot of really good women's basketball teams right now. It's fun to watch because you can't predict it. You don't know what's going to happen next.
Just to follow up on that, then, what's the challenge now of maybe trying to grow the game, not just on the court, but growing fans and getting more support, across the whole sport? And how, is there any concrete steps that you've thought of, or that might be helpful, or what could be next?
Oh, I wish I could give you a laundry list of items. There's a lot of people more creative than I am about how we can do those things, but I think right now, I feel like there's just a positive trajectory for women's basketball. I think we've got to find ways to build on the excitement that we've had. I mean, what a great first round that we've had. I mean, some really good games, some exciting basketball, some exciting individual players, some exciting teams. I think we just have to continue to grow on what our product is, and continue to talk about it. Continue to brag on it, and hopefully people will tune in. If you like sports, you got to tune in to women's basketball because it's worth it. It's good.
You're on the right.
Kelly, obviously different team than last year, but if you had to maybe sum it up or pinpoint something, what do you feel like would be the difference in why this team will be the one to make it to the Sweet 16?
This team for us we have a lot of grit. I do think we have a little bit more experience now. I think the NCAA tournament last year was great for us to have that experience, both the positive and the negative. And, our returners can think back and remember what that looks like. But, I think their toughness and their grit, their competitiveness is what gives them an opportunity to win basketball games.
We've got time for one more question. All right. Thank you, Coach, for joining us.
All right. Thank you, guys.